Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sarah Wisted. Today's video is going to be a Q&A style with a lot of questions that you guys asked. I'll be answering in today's video. It is my last video in my Vlogmas series. This is the first ever Vlogmas that I've done this entire time that I've been doing YouTube. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I'll have all of those videos linked down below if you want to rewatch them or watch them if you haven't watched them yet. But essentially all of these questions are ones that you guys had submitted via YouTube and Instagram, so I'm going to be answering those now. The first question is, what decor pieces do you believe are worth a big investment? I would say my initial reaction, quick response would be a couch. I do feel like a couch is a really good investment because it is a major piece that you see when you walk into a space, like your living space, for example, but it's also functional in that you are pretty much sitting on it every single day when you live at your house. So I don't know, I think the couch is where I would spend most, the biggest investment. Other areas, I would say some sort of statement piece in your room is a really, to me, I think it's a good investment, whether that be like a piece of artwork or a statement chair or a really cool lamp. I think having something, not everything in your room has to be expensive, but I feel like having that one piece that is super unique, that may be more of an investment, maybe it's a designer, classic designer piece, I think just really elevates the space. So definitely would say couch. And then I would say having one investment, statement piece in your room, I think is a good investment. That's just my opinion though. The next question is, your minimalist style is quote Scandi. Have you visited any Scandinavian countries or Europe? I have not. I have never been to Europe. I know that's probably shocking to you guys. I've been to Japan and Australia, Canada, Mexico, South America. Where else? I don't know. But I've never been to Europe, and it drives me crazy because I want so badly to go. It just hasn't worked out. None of our travel plans have really worked out when we have been planning them. And now I'm kind of in a phase of life where I am hoping to grow family. So I don't know. We just haven't made the time to go over there. But I 100% have it on the plan. We almost went to Italy for our honeymoon, and again, it didn't work out. But yeah, I have not been to Europe. I do plan to go to Europe, but that'll probably be maybe not next year, but the next year. Where do you find home decor inspiration? My main source, I would say, is Pinterest. Of course, I see inspo on Instagram, but it's nothing that I usually really save on Instagram, which is interesting. Pinterest, I feel like, because I use Pinterest all the time, I posted a video probably a year or two ago at this point, talking about how I found my personal home decor style, and I used Pinterest pretty much the entire time doing that. So the more you use Pinterest, the more the algorithm kind of gets to know who you are and shows you more of that and more of what you like. And I don't know, I just feel like anytime I get on it, it's they know exactly who I am, and they send me new inspiration pictures that I'm like, oh, this is so great. It's also interesting because I take inspo from all pictures. It's not just minimalist design pictures. There might be a farmhouse picture where I like this one detail in this picture versus everything else in there, and I save that image because I'm that one detail, I notice it every single time. I also look at online websites for inspiration, and this actually goes with fashion as well. To give you an example, a recent brand that I'm really in love with is this brand called Menu, and I have, anytime I'm looking for inspo for a project, I know that that brand has a very specific point of view on home design, and so I will go to their page and see what they have done a few times, what they've done with their design pieces and their editorial pieces. So I'll look there. I also look at Zara Home sometimes, I'll go to zarahome.com and look at some of their pictures. So in addition to Pinterest having such a large search engine of pictures, I also go to specific brand websites that I know that my style aligns with. For fashion, I always go to the Forward website. I always look at the way they put their outfits together. I think is just so thoughtful and just different. Yeah, I think Pinterest and going directly to brands that I know that I like, their websites, and seeing what they would do in certain situations, I think is how I find inspiration. Your favorite places to shop? For home decor, I love Finished Design Shop. I feel like that's no surprise. I've talked about them a lot on here. I also really like Made in Home. I don't own anything from Made in Home because their prices are a little bit more of an investment, but I've had my eyes on a few pieces from them and hope to one day invest in them, hopefully sometime soon. But Made in Home, Finished Design Shop. I love vintage store shopping. There is a There's a used furniture store here in Atlanta called Atlanta Used Furniture, which I'm constantly just stalking their Instagram page to see what's new, so I think that's really fun. What else? Lulu in Georgia has great stuff. France and Son has good stuff for home decor. Even Amazon, like I have a whole Amazon shop page that has some pieces that I found on Amazon that I like. And then you guys know that I like IKEA, because I feel like IKEA keeps it super minimal, super straight to the point, and very inexpensive. And I can usually, if I'm on a budget, I can usually find what I'm looking for at IKEA. So I would say those are my favorite places currently. I am in love with your white blank canvas vibe in your dining room and want to replicate it in my own home. Would you mind sharing the measurements of your canvas and where you purchased it? I need to go measure that. Let me be right back. Just measured the canvas. It is approximately 5 foot by 4 foot. And I did just get it at Michael's. So yeah, 5 foot by 4 foot. I believe I remember you saying you had a twin. Just curious, does your twin embrace minimalism as well? Yes, I have a twin. I have a twin sister. Her name is Melissa, and she lives in Nashville, Tennessee. How do I explain this? I'm not necessarily a minimalist either. I really like minimal home decor, as in not a lot of visual distraction, not a lot on the walls. I tend to lean towards neutrals, not a lot of patterns. Lots of like straighter lines, but in general I wouldn't consider myself as a minimalist. I just really enjoy the calming nature of minimal home decor. So for minimalism, my sister does not necessarily have the same style as I do. It's slightly different. She has more of like the traditional, I don't know if traditional is the right word, but she has more on the wall, you know, like is not scared of patterns per se, but like, yeah, I mean, she has a pretty like standard style. Like it's not as extreme as I am. I would say like I'm very particular about the way things look, just because I heard someone say this the other day on Instagram, but some people are drastically affected by their environments and some people just literally don't care. I'm one of those people who fall in the I am affected by my environment. Like my mood fully changes depending on what's happening in the environment that I'm in. So I like to create a place of like peace and calm, not a lot going on. And I'm not saying that this is the way that everyone should be. I'm just saying it just makes me happy in my home to not have that much stuff. I wouldn't say my sister is just like me in that aspect. She does enjoy like a peaceful home situation, and she's very clean. She likes things picked up, put away. I don't know how else to explain that, but like we are similar in that regard, in that we like things picked up and clean and taken care of. But she doesn't necessarily have a minimalist interior style like I do, if that makes sense. The next question is, have you thought about starting a side business of an online clothing boutique? What would the name be and why? I always think about starting businesses. I feel like I've heard this quote, it's like the difference between success and successful people and unsuccessful people is execution. In terms of business plans and creating my own business, execution it's a lot for me. In terms of a side business, I do have a side business, which is creating content on social media. It is I consider it a part-time job because I am, you know, working on some brand partnerships, as well as, you know, just making a little side money from the social media content creation business. So I would say yes, I already have one. It's not a physical product per se, but it's more selling knowledge or my opinion or point of view on certain things. Regarding an online clothing store, again, I've thought about every aspect of creating an online clothing store, a physical boutique store. There's just a lot that I always think about constantly. I'm like, I'd love to do this and that. But so I guess the long story short is, yes, I have thought about it. I may still do it in the future. Actually, one of you guys mentioned my love for sweaters. I love sweaters so much that I should start an online sweater store, which maybe I'll do that in the future. But right now, just the thought of adding that to my plate in addition to being a mother, have a full-time job and this part-time job, it's too overwhelming. I can't think of it, but that could change if the right proposal showed up. Do you have a college degree? Yes, I have a bachelor's degree in marketing from the University of Alabama. What do you and Taylor do for your 9-to-5s? Taylor is my husband, if you don't know that. My 9-to-5 is I work for a global data management company, and my team specifically sells consulting services for the health sciences industry. My job specifically is to support the sales reps. We do have a global sales team, so we have a sales rep in Austria, Korea, Japan. There's 2 in the US, 2 in the UK, And then my boss is in the US as well. And then Taylor's 9-to-5 job is he works in the insurance industry. He is in sales, and they sell a very specific product for essentially the top 1% of workers. What do you call them, workers? I guess you'd call them workers. So it's essentially, they sell like gap insurance. So if their corporation that they work for only provides insurance for up to a certain amount, his company, Taylor's product that he sells, is pretty much filling up that remaining gap to hit their actual salary. So if for whatever reason they needed to go on medical leave or whatever, I'm like totally butchering this, I'm not in the insurance industry, but their company would only cover a certain portion of their salary, and then my husband and his dad sell the remaining gap to cover that full amount of what they're used to working on per year. They would get the full amount essentially versus what the company covers. So they're like the gap insurance, if you will. The next question is, can you share more lake house details, or is that the family's or off limits? Yeah, I can. It is my husband's family's lake house. So it's his mom and his dad purchased this lake house, and it's on Lake Oconee in Georgia. It's a beautiful lake, and it's we go up there quite often, as I'm sure you guys know if you follow me on Instagram. They have some boats, obviously, like the community that they're in. There's like a restaurant there. There's just a lot of fun activities to do there, and it'll just get more and more fun as Shay gets older, because right now she's kind of at the age where it sucks for her to wear a life jacket. It just looks so uncomfortable, but it's just gonna be really fun when she's older. But yeah, we're very lucky. It's their house. I don't really share a lot of the inside because it's not my house, and I don't want them to think I'm like showing the internet their house, if you will. So I just take random snapshots. But does it hurt your feelings that you buy your own gifts and stuff your own stocking? So yes and no. I'm just being honest with you guys. I'm gonna be super transparent. My husband and I kind of had this arrangement where we just like didn't buy each other gifts, and it started when we were broke college kids. I literally have been dating him since my freshman year of college, so we have been together since 2009, which I don't even know how many years that is. I can't count right now, but a long time. And then we've been married for like 5 or 6 years since then. So we've been together for a long time, and we had this weird rule when we first started dating forever ago that we weren't going to buy each other gifts. And he is just not the most romantic person, and I say that not so that you guys can attack him, because I knew that going in, and I'm really not that romantic either. Like, I don't really need that per se. Of course I want it now more that we have a kid, and I just want more attention from him in a different way because we don't have really that time as much. But we talk about it. We're both very good at communicating, and we're both very open to communicating. So this, yes, it does kind of hurt my feelings that I have to buy my own gifts, but he's very well aware of that, and he promises moving forward that he will be the one to do it. I'm very type A, like you guys know, and he's very type B. So I'm like, I feel like he's gonna be the type of person where even if he does have a gift that he's gonna get me, like for my birthday, for example, he probably won't have it on my birthday. It'd be like 2 weeks later. And then it's like, what's the point of the gift? So like, it's one of those things where I'm like, pick and choose your battles. Like, do I really care that much? Because gift giving is not my love language. So I'm like, it's more like the act and the recognition for me. I'm very much a recognition person than it is for the actual gift. So I just can't decide if I really care that much. But this year, I just usually take control and do everything anyway, so we just didn't have that conversation. But next year, he's going to be doing everything, or so he says, so we will see how that goes. Do you own any luxury purses from big fashion houses? Louis Vuitton, Dior, and Chanel. I do. I feel like the person asking this question was kind of asking to like make a point as to not buy from the big fashion houses, but I think it's only natural to be attracted to certain styles that are a little bit more classic. So I do have a Chanel bag. I have the classic caviar. It's the Chanel classic double flat bag in the caviar, and it's the medium size. So it's a little bit more oversized, and it's just a very classic, simple look, and I really, really love it. I do have a few other luxury bags, but if you guys are interested in that, I can do like a whole video on them. But regarding those specific ones that you mentioned, Chanel is the only one that I have. The next question is a bit taboo. Thoughts on Balenciaga? Again, same person, so, you know, I feel like it's just coming coming out of the woodworks. But my thoughts on Balenciaga. Confused, I think, is like my overarching opinion on it. I'm just confused on how something like that can be released after going through so many levels of approval. Balenciaga is not just some random small brand. Like, this is a global, huge, massive brand. So it had to have gone through multiple levels of approval before they released that campaign. I don't know. It just kind of, I don't know. It's just confusing is my answer to that. I'm just confused. The next question I'm so passionate about, but it's also a little bit taboo. It's about motherhood, and I feel like it's like a motherhood advice question. And I feel like the second you start talking about the way you raise your own child, Karens come out of the woodwork and they attack you for every little thing that you say. So I'm a little hesitant to even respond to this question because I feel like there's going to be people in the comments just sounding off, but that's okay. I'm going to share it with you because I am so passionate about this topic and I am so happy to share it with you. But do your research, ask your pediatrician, do all the things that you need to do to make sure it makes sense for your family. And the question is, did you sleep train Shay? If so, how? Just another mama needing advice. We did sleep train Shay. Sleep is so important to me, you guys. Like, it was the #1 thing that was driving a lot of my actions at the beginning of Shay coming home with us from the hospital. And I've heard such wonderful success stories from this method called Moms on Call. Literally all of my friends were doing it. All of them had great things to say, and it's amazing. So we did the Moms on Call method, and technically they're going to tell you you can't sleep train. When I say they, doctors, people, other mothers, they're going to say you can't sleep train your child until it's like, I think it's like 6 months or something is what they say. But I'm telling you, we got Shay on a schedule the day she came home from the hospital, and this is including her 5 extra weeks of being premature. So she was 35 weeks. I was 35 weeks pregnant when she was born, so that's an extra 5 weeks until her 40th week, right? So that's the 5 weeks of being premature, and then, you know, schedules start, I guess, for Moms on Call. But they do have a preemie schedule, and it's basically what your doctor is going to tell you when you come home from the hospital anyway, which is wake them up every 2 to 3 hours to feed them, which is what we did. So essentially what Moms on Call is, because I know there's a lot of misconceptions out there that it's a cry it out method, that it's really rigid, that there's just like no room for error. And I'm just going to tell you that that's not true at all, for me at least. I can say that at being a type A person, as you guys all know, it was really, really comforting for me to have an idea of what I should be doing with my newborn throughout the day. And it's during the day, it gives you like awake time windows, things you can do with your baby during your awake time windows, but then also like times where you should be helping them learn how to sleep. One of the comments that you'll hear if you bring up Moms on Call to people who don't know what it is, they're going to say, oh, I just like can't have the structure like that. I want to be able to do things with my baby and leave the house and travel and blah, 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 blah. You can do that with Moms on Call. In my opinion, as long as you're attempting to have your baby sleep during that sleep time window, they can sleep wherever. So if you want to go get lunch and it's their nap time, put them in their stroller and let them sleep in their bassinet at the restaurant. Just bring a little portable sound machine. So like, to me, it was not even an issue. Like, you just bring your baby where you're gonna go and then attempt for them to sleep at the restaurant or wherever you are. Like, but if sleep is important to you, getting them on a schedule and understanding to meet their needs before they need them is like God's savior. And then I will say every baby's different. Shay was super easy to get sleeping through the night. Who knows if my next baby's gonna be different, but like I said, I've known a lot of moms who've done Moms on Call, and it's been like a godsend for everyone. What has been the hardest part of being a mom, or the roughest time with Shay? I would say like my initial like pop up, the hardest part of being a mom for me actually doesn't have anything to do with my baby. It is the fact that my body it's just so different now, and I am so grateful for the pregnancy and my baby and everything that's come with it, but I can tell a huge change in my body. Mentally, I had postpartum anxiety. We think it was undiagnosed. Recently, I have found out that I had anxiety. It was literally, she turned 15 months, I think, and I got to the point of not being able to breathe. When I left my house, I was so anxious that I almost had to turn around and go home. Like it just got really bad. And honestly, the anxiety wasn't necessarily around her, but I think it's around like time and how fast time is going. And I think my body's transition from like all the hormones, in addition to this just immense responsibility of trying to get things done for her, has just triggered a lot of anxiety in me. So yeah, I think the truly hardest part is the fact that my body's just not the same as it was before. And regarding the roughest time with Shay, there's nothing that like she's done so far that I'm like, Shay is hard. But I will say, just in general, I mean, I guess this kind of goes back to my anxiety, but just in general, making sure that she's alive and well. It's like, I don't know, it just weighs on you as a mom. It's like you just want her to be happy and healthy and just live their life, and it's like the slightest little cough or fever, you're just like, oh god, what do I need to do now? What do I need to be prepared for now? Okay, baby must-haves for her current stage. I am always gonna say the Love Every Play kits. That's always gonna be like my number one, like pops up in my head immediately, is any sort of Love Every toy has been a godsend. There's not really anything I can think of that you like must have at this current stage. I mean, other than like a car seat, but that's boring. Or like her changing pad and changing area you need. A humidifier is great. I mean, I feel like that's a pretty obvious, but anytime you're sick, like you need a humidifier in the room. She loves her snack cups. I feel like that's a good thing if you like that. She reads a lot of books, especially ones that have noise, like you can press the book and it makes a noise. Art supplies like painting and markers and crayons. Miss Rachel, I should probably comment on that. Miss Rachel, I've said her before in one of my vlogs, but she is a YouTuber and she basically creates all kids content. And she's amazing. So I've even have some friends that are teachers that also praise Miss Rachel because she does everything correctly, apparently, as from a teacher's perspective. But she can teach them how to talk. Like the way she talks is she kind of explains to them how they can say it, and she kind of tries to get them to talk. Shay loves her. Anytime Shay like is just being a crazy person and I need just like a moment to work or whatever I'm doing, I can throw this on and I know that she's learning. And she's super invested in the TV show. So I would say Miss Rachel's a good one too. And you can just pull it up on your phone, it's free. So love Miss Rachel. Do you plan to have more babies? If so, how many, and how many years do you want to wait? Yes, of course, I want to have more babies. I used to say 2, and I still think I'm on the 2 train, but I honestly would be open to more. Like they're a lot of work, but I would be open just because, again, like I said, I feel like it's such a blessing, and you only get so many tries, I guess, until you get to a certain age, and then it becomes a little bit harder. So 2, I think for now, is what we're kind of like feeling, but we'll see. I'm not open. I mean, I'm not close to anything. What nationality are you? I am part Puerto Rican and part Polish, so I feel like that is like polar opposite. So that's the nationality that I am. Do you speak any other languages? I do not. What's your astrological sign? I assume this means like Libra. I am a Libra. Favorite wines, and then somebody else said, can you please recommend a bottle of wine for my daughter's teacher? So I do love wine, but I would not consider myself an expert by any means. We are starting to kind of get into it a little bit more, but I don't know, I just feel like that's a whole nother hobby that I just like haven't really tapped into. For white wines, I really like Chardonnay. My favorite Chardonnay is butter Chardonnay. If I am drinking red, I like a very, Educated Guess is really good too. I really like Educated Guess. There's a wine called Quilt that's really good. Nickel and Nickel is really good. Of course, Silver Oak is good, but like who would not say that? I don't know. I'll let you guys know if I find anything else that I really like. What do you love about living in your city? Would you move anywhere else? Let's start with would you move anywhere else? I love Atlanta, but I literally did move here because of my husband. He is from here, from Atlanta. So if I weren't with him, I probably wouldn't be in Atlanta. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I think Atlanta has a lot to offer, but I just really love a bigger city. Like I would love to be in New York or even the outskirts of New York where I could just pop in and pop out. Or same with Miami. But again, I am older now, so I feel like I'm not into the party scene. I just really like the amenities that come with a bigger city. What I love about Atlanta is that you get the city and the suburb, like the city and the suburbs aspect, and we are still in the South. I grew up in Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas, so I am a true Southern girl at heart. So I do love the culture that comes with living in the South. So being able to be in Atlanta, I do get the city and the city life while also still having like the Southern lifestyle out in the suburbs. We have a backyard, for example. It's not usable, but we do have one. We're able to have a little bit more space in our homes versus like living in an actual city. Yeah, I would say that's probably my favorite part about living in my area. Is Atlanta your home base forever? I'll never say forever on anything, but I will say that I have tried to convince my husband to move other places before, and it is not happening. So I like always picture my life as having this as pretty much home base and then having some sort of second home in a bigger city. So I guess, yeah, maybe it will probably be home base. Again, I wouldn't say for forever, but for the foreseeable future, I can't imagine us moving somewhere. So someone said, I'm relocating to Atlanta, but have never been, in the next few months and need to start apartment hunting. What are some areas that are quiet and safe that you'd recommend on the outskirts of the city? In the outskirts of the city, I would say Brookhaven is a very popular area where a lot of younger families or just younger people in general are living, and it's very safe. Sandy Springs is also good. It's in the outskirts. If you want to be like near the city, I feel like Brookhaven and Sandy Springs are the two places that I would go. If you want to go further out, there is a place called Roswell, which does have a very young scene. There is a strip that they call downtown Roswell that has a lot of really fun restaurants and bars, and it is a lot of young families there as well. What is on your clothing and accessory wish list? Okay, so this is the last one, and I saved it for the last one because I feel like I want to do a full nother video sharing my wish list, because I've actually gotten this request quite often. But I'll just give you one for clothing. Was it clothing and accessories? Clothing and accessories. Yeah, I'll give you one for clothing and one for accessories, and then one for home decor, and then we'll call it a day. So I'd say on my accessory wish list, the Adidas Samba OG shoes. I have been really interested in finding a pair. For clothing, I really want like a good coat, like a really nice winter coat. I have the two that I wear all the time from Nap Loungewear. There's like the blanket coat that I love and you guys seem to love when I wear it. I wear them so often, I'm like, why can't I just start investing in some nicer coats? And like, I don't know, I just feel like a coat is such a statement. Like you walk out of your house and just a long statement coat just makes a huge statement. So I need to find a really nice coat, or coats of course. And then for home decor, I am like fully about to buy this, and I'm very, very close to making the purchase. It's called the Bloom Tray. It just is a really sculptural piece that I want to put on my coffee table, and I think it's so stunning. And so yeah, I'm gonna be getting this. You will see it in my house, mark my words. I'm manifesting it. It is so stunning. All right, you guys, so that was it for my Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel and give this video a thumbs up. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a good one, and I hope you have an amazing holiday season, and I will see you guys in 2023.